Hi, my name is Vicky Lee and I'm your success coach. Today we're in the kitchen because we're going to cook up some love. Because how you cook is how you do relationships. And in this video, I'm going to show you the right way and the wrong way. Today we're going to make love soup, and it's labeled us as in you and the person you're in a relationship with. And I want you to write down on a piece of paper that person's name, or if you don't have a relationship right now, write down the name of your ex. Now, if you've got a lot of soup in your pot, that means you have a big foundation for your relationship. Like you grew up together, you got married, you built a house together, you built a business together, you have 6 kids together. That's a lot of soup. Now, if you have a little soup in your pot, that means you have a small foundation for your relationship. Like you live in California and he lives in Russia, or it's an online relationship. You see each other once every 20 to 30 years. That's a little soup. So right now on your love soup recipe card, I want you to write down on a scale of 1 to 100, how much soup do you have in your pot? Now, a lot of successful people, they want a lot of spices in their soup. And salt represents meaning, fulfilling your life calling, pursuing your dream. And spices represent sexiness and fun. So right now, on your love soup recipe card, I want you to write down on a scale of 1 to 100 how much salt and meaning you need in your relationships, and how much spice, sexiness, and fun you'd like in your relationship. Now, a lot of people, they really want to put a lot of salt and spices in their relationship. But if they don't have a lot of soup in their pot, it's not going to taste very good. And they aren't even going to enjoy eating it. That's kind of like living off of credit card debt. And every new purchase you make, you're not excited and thrilled about it because you know that you're just getting deeper and deeper into debt. So when you're just getting into a relationship with someone, what you do is you take half of your soup, and then you take half of their soup, and then you combine it, and then you add the salt and the spices to taste. But some people, they just love tons of spices in their relationship, but they get into a relationship with someone who doesn't have a lot of soup in their pot because they're in school or they don't have a job, so they just can't contribute to the relationship. So what the other person does, or what you do, is you go, that's okay, you know what? I will just provide everything. I'll pay for everything and I'll put all my soup in this pot. You know, because it's really difficult for me to find somebody who's my equal. It's easier for me to date someone younger or somebody less financially stable. And then I can still have a sexy, salty, spicy, meaningful relationship. So what's going to happen is, in a relationship, like let's say you're potato soup and this person is squash soup. When you get into a relationship, it's potato squash soup. But if it's only you in this relationship, then that's not a relationship. That person is just eating your soup. They're not contributing at all. They're using your energy, using your money, draining your energy. And eventually your soup is going to run dry. You're not going to have anything left. But if you're super rich or super youthful, so you'll never run out of soup, it's still not enjoyable for both of you, because the best relationships, the best tasting relationships, have the most amount of flavors and the most variety of spices in it. Eventually, it's going to feel really, really lonely because you aren't being recognized in your relationship, because that person didn't put any of their soul or any of their soup into your pot, and they're not being recognized because they're not in the relationship. The real them is in this pot. For love to exist in the relationship, you have to have 2 different kinds of soup in the pot. If you only have one kind of soup in the pot, that is a codependent relationship, or eventually it'll become parasitic if it goes on too long. That is a father-daughter relationship, or a mother-son or parent-child relationship. So right now, I want you to write down on your love soup recipe card, from a scale of 1 to 100, how much of your soup is in your relationship, is in this pot, and how much of their soup is in this relationship. So let's say I put a worm or I have a worm in the soup, and that's an emotional baggage, or maybe that person has an alcohol problem. What happens is the love that I co-create is now going to be toxic. And that's why a lot of people have a hard time when they first move in together, because their soups mix, and you become their soup, and they become your soup. So what love forces you to do is to clean up your own soup. And some people say, oh, I can get around that. And what they do is they just pick out the best parts of themselves to put in the relationship. They don't invest all of themselves into the relationship. And I agree with that. That's usually called the dating or the honeymoon phase of the relationship. And I agree with that because you don't bring all of your crap into your relationship at first. But you are going to either have to give up the crappy parts of yourself and step up to the plate to make great soup with someone. Or what some people do is they try to hide their worms, and like they have skeletons in the closet or secrets. And what that does is, like, I always get asked this question is, how come it was so wonderful? We were only 2 days together on this tropical paradise, and then he just ran away. Well, maybe that person didn't want you to see, their worms. Here's what I suggest. Do a little bit of everything all the time. Clean up your soup, and then add some of as you go along, add more and more of your clean soup into the relationship. And then as you do that, add more spices, and do everything all of the time as you go along. Love is an all or nothing game. People always want to know the tricks and the loopholes because they just don't want to do the real work. Commit to doing the real work. Commit to cleaning up your soup pot, and commit to combining it with someone else's soup to make a great soup. And commit to adding the spices as you go along, so that you just make better and better and better great tasting soup. And commit to not hiding the bad parts of your soup, and to not cherry picking out the good parts. Commit to that so that you make better and better and better love. And when you're ready to do that, give me a call.